Up first this evening, embattled Member of Parliament for Central Westmoreland, George Wright, has resigned from the Jamaica Labour Party. He's been under pressure to step down amid allegations of physical abuse. General Precious has the latest.
On Friday, the Jamaica Labour Party issued a two-sentence statement which read, quote, George Wright, MP for Central Westmoreland, has submitted his letter of resignation to JLP General Secretary Dr. Horace Chang, terminating his membership in the party. The JLP, it continued, has accepted Mr. Wright's resignation. Opposition leader Mark Golding is taking issue with the seating of Westmoreland Central MP George Wright on the opposition benches. Mr. Wright is now an independent MP after resigning from the Jamaica Labour Party in the wake of allegations of abuse. Now, the seating arrangements for Mr. Wright spurred debate in Parliament this afternoon. Vashon Brown has the details.
George Wright returned to Parliament last Tuesday after taking leave of absence amid public outrage directed at him. He was not in the House this week, but when he arrived at Gordon House last week, he sat on the opposition benches. Today, St. Mary's Central MP Dr. Maurice Guy attempted to speak from the seat Mr. Wright sat in last week. That's when the House Speaker Marisa Dalrymple Philibert intervened.
Member, are you seeking permission to speak from a seat other than your own?
Madam Speaker, this is my new seat that I've been assigned. I'm saying that this is a seat that I've been assigned.
Members, please, this is not, just a minute, this is not a controversial matter. However, throughout the Commonwealth, if you are not a member of government, then you sit on the other side.
The House Speaker insisted that she did not have any objections to the change in the seating arrangements. However, she argued that the House should have been properly notified.
You simply cannot, since the seat was vacant up until last week when a member of Parliament took the seat, simply just displace the person who sat there.
Last week, it took everybody by surprise. Certainly me and others by surprise, but the fact is that when I made the assignment as a leader of opposition business, I did not purposefully leave any seat, and certainly on the front bench, vacant. So a discussion needs to be had about that so we can have a quick resolution on the matter.
As I said to you, it is not controversial, but it is important that we have the discussion before you simply displace the person from the seat.
Opposition leader Mark Golding argued that it was not a simple matter for the opposition.
It is not contentious in my mind alone. It is contentious in many minds on our side. The whole question of whether somebody supports the Prime Minister and will vote with the government side or not is a real issue for somebody who up until now was a strident supporter of the Prime Minister, and there's no reason for suspecting that he is no longer that. And under our constitutional arrangements, it does not matter whether you're a JLP or a PNP or what, any P. What matters is whether you support the government's principles and programs and will vote with the Prime Minister on matters. That's what makes you a government MP.
What is taking place here today is correct. It is correct in terms of what takes place in the Parliament in the Commonwealth, and you have two capable persons as leader of opposition business and leader of government business, and that is where I'm going to allow it to rest, because this is how we operate.
More controversy in the lower house today as the opposition clashed again with government members about the seating arrangement for Westmoreland Central MP George Wright. The opposition remains adamant Mr. Wright is not one of their members and should not sit among them, while the Prime Minister and Speaker weigh in. Parliament roll call.
Mr. Williams, Mr. Wilson, Mr. Witter, Mr. Wright.
The embattled Westmoreland Central MP George Wright responded to his name in his new seat on the opposition benches of Parliament, much to the annoyance of Leader of Opposition Business Anthony Hilton.
Madam Speaker, there is a stranger in our midst on this side of the House. on this side of the House.
Point of order, Madam.
This raging debate is a spillover from last week's sitting about the seating arrangements for Mr. Wright, who is now an independent MP.
First of all, there's no stranger in the House. Anyone who is a member of this House is a member of this House.
But House Speaker Marissa Dalrymple Philibert would have none of it.
On either side of the aisle, there have been 2 vacant seats that allows for movement on either side. This afternoon, as we sit in Parliament, all members of the opposition are properly seated on the opposition side.
This, however, didn't stop the parliamentary opposition from pushing.
I am now going to call...
Madam Speaker.
No, I'm not going to allow you.
Madam Speaker, on a point of order. You have sat there in your chair. You have allowed the leader of government business to impute motive and to call us histrionic because we have sought to express our opinion.
I believe that's wrong, and I believe that it's an abuse of the majority what the member is saying. I have not given her permission to speak.
And even during the discussion surrounding the Prime Minister's presentation, the matter would come up again. Opposition leader Mark Golding suggesting that a walkout was being contemplated.
At the end of the day, it would be a gesture. Gestures can matter, but gestures can be misinterpreted. It would be a gesture because there's no way we can permanently exclude ourselves from this chamber.
Forgive me for joining the diversion of the leader of the opposition from the matter at hand, but he raised an interesting prospect at which I would crave his response. If the member were elected independent, where would he sit?
A person who's contested an election as a member has no allegiance to the party that wins or the party that doesn't win. The person is truly independent. In that instance, the norm is that the person does not sit on the government side. In this instance, the gentleman was elected as a government MP. The only reason why he is not treated as such any longer is because of the invidious circumstances which have led him to be excluded from his party and from their caucus. There is absolutely no point of principle of divergence between him and the governing side. He should not be among us on this side.
The House Speaker, however, would have the last say.
And right now, at this time, the leader of government business is assigned to do the seating accordingly. The opposition benches belong to any member of Parliament who is not a member of the ruling party. As it stands now, regardless of the inferences, regardless of the opinions of anybody, the member, George Wright, is not a member of the governing party, and that cannot be disputed.
Send you for do this.
This is the opposition side, right?
Yes.
And I work on the opposition side.
You work on the opposition side?
I work on the opposition side.
Why, sir?
I'm here as an independent.
Okay.
All right?
Yes, sir.
Let it go?
Yes, yes, yes.
No, no, with this. Just walk slow, walk slow. I would like a public apology from Mr. Mark Golding.
I don't see why I should apologize to him, because I haven't said anything that's worthy of an apology.
Earlier this afternoon, we saw what appeared to be an unfortunate incident. While you were marching into the house, opposition members, it apparently appeared as if they were shunning you. How do you react to this?
What I really want to say is that I've been verbally attacked by the opposition leader, Golding, saying that someone must have sent me. Understand? Which I find it very much disheartening. You know, because as a member of parliament, I'm entitled to the march, and once you are not sitting on the government side, it means that you are sitting on the opposition side. So you have to march on the opposition side, right? And he was saying that someone must have sent me, but as a leader who wants to lead this country, it's very much, you know, it doesn't look good to be verbally attacking a member of parliament in that manner. Also, I wish and hope that the ombudsman would have seen this going viral and take quick action. Understand?
So, Mr. Wright, did anyone in fact put you up to it?
Did anyone do what?
Put you up to it?
Put me up to what?
Walking on that side according to the leader
As I
of the
mentioned
opposition.
earlier, that once you are not sitting on the government side, you have the right to walk on the opposition side.
They have made him sit with the opposition, pretending he is no longer part of the government. He votes on every issue with the government. He speaks, whenever he speaks in full support of the government. He's not part of the opposition. Today, he came down to where we were gathered. It's a traditional place where the opposition gathers, and sought to walk in our group up to Parliament. And I said to him, you should not be walking with us, you are not part of our group. It is an insult and disrespect to us for you to be trying to do that. And that's what I said to him. And I said, send it to come to that, because that is what I believe. I don't think he would just come into our group just like that. I didn't use any bad language, I didn't say anything abusive to him, and I don't see why I should apologize to him, because I haven't said anything that's worthy of an apology.
Where should he have walked?
Sorry?
Where should he have walked?
If he's maintaining he's independent, which is a farce and is a lie and is a deception, because he's not, he should have walked independently of us. We are the opposition. Yes. He doesn't vote with the opposition. He's not part of the opposition. He votes with the government. He should really be up with them. That is the reality of the situation. The media, I'm very disappointed in the media that they don't point this out on a regular basis, that this farce and this deception is being practiced in the parliament when it comes to Mr. George Wright.
Have you reported on it extensively though, Mr. Golding?
I don't think you have.